Okay.
All right, team. So, welcome to our Monday night Dream Team call. We've got a really special guest on tonight. This is going to be her first time hosting our team call, so it's super fun. Ryen and I have been friends for quite a few years. We just met at the dental office, and she is truly a unique person, and I love her dedication. And her honesty, and she's super genuine. And so she has a lot of influence, and it's been neat to watch her grow and start to build belief within herself. And so this was just a challenge that I gave her, and she wanted to take it on and share some things that she's learned along this way with you guys. And so I'm going to let her have the room. Go for it, Ray.
Okay, can you guys hear me okay? All right. So my name is Ryen. Like Liberty said, I'm a silver ambassador and I started with Plexus. It's been a year. It was January of last year. And I started using it to help me quit drinking soda. I was a real bad junkie of soda. Um, and I didn't really think it was going to work. But I was desperate. I really wanted to quit, and I tried everything else, and I always went back. So now it's been a year, and I haven't gone back. So that in itself is amazing. But I mean, the products are amazing. I don't have to tell you guys how awesome they are. They've changed so many things about my health, way beyond just quitting soda. I've got my kids using them now, and I'm working on the husband. Um, and yeah, once I realized how amazing they were, I called up Liberty and said, "What do I need to do? Tell me all about the business." And she did, and I haven't looked back. So I'll be an ambassador for a year in May. So when Liberty asked me to do this challenge, of course, I'm super nervous. And I'm like, well, what can I talk about? I don't know what to talk about. So I thought, I want to talk about things that not only do I sound like I know what I'm talking about, but stuff that I wanted to know more about myself and stuff that would help me not only help you guys, but continue to grow my own business, something that would continue to help me. So the first professional or personal development book that I read since starting Plexus was the 4-Color Personalities for MLM by Big Al Schreider. And it's a really quick read. If you have it on audiobook, it's like 2 hours to listen to it, so you can do it in a couple of days or even less depending on how much time you have. If you haven't already done it, I highly recommend looking into that one because it really helps you learn how to talk to people that are different than you, that have a different worldview than you. And for me, that's something I really need because it's sometimes I'm like, how is everybody not thinking the same? To me, things seem like they make so much sense. It's hard for me to realize that other people don't always see things the same way as I do. So it's been very helpful to me in learning how to market my business. So that's what I wanted to start with. I'm thinking that most of you probably have at least heard of it and are familiar, but I'm going to go over the different colors real quick just as a refresher so everybody can kind of understand what I'm talking about. So there's 4 different types of color personalities from this book. The first one is the red, and red people are like drivers. They're assertive, they're go-getters, they are results-based, they like being in charge, and they like challenges. They like beating and winning challenges. The next one is yellow. They're more amiable. They're really friendly. They want to help people. They like taking care of people. They're the stay-at-home moms and the nurses and the teachers that just love helping and taking care of people. They're not super excited about the business end of things. There's green, and that's me, and it's analytical. So Liberty, when she talked to me about Plexus business, she'd already kind of summed me up, I guess I would say. and she was familiar with them. So she was like telling me all about, this is what this product does, this is what's in it. And I love that kind of stuff. And it's really, really hard for me to remember that some people don't want that level of detail on the products. Like, it still kind of blows my mind. Like, why wouldn't you want to know what's in this? Why wouldn't you want to know what it's going to do for you? But some people honestly don't. So I want the facts. I want like statistics. I love the clinical trials. I love that kind of stuff. So that's how I was turned on to Plexus, because of the quality ingredients, what it actually does for your body, the way the business works, the fact that you can succeed. It's got a better chance of succeeding than a lot of other MLMs out there. So the last one is the blue, and they're all about fun. They're dreamers, they're creative, they're expressive. They're usually the life of the party. So that's kind of just a basic rundown on it. So the first thing that I would recommend to everybody, if you haven't already done it, is to find out what color you are, because then you'll understand yourself. You'll understand what attracted you to Plexus, and you'll kind of realize that you're naturally going to attract people that are the same color as you. That's going to be like the people that are easy for you, because you know how to talk to them. But you don't want your business and your customers to be just a bunch of people just like you, because that won't get you very far. And then once you get familiar with the colors and what kind of language they use and what kind of things they're attracted to, you can kind of start to realize what other people's colors are when you have conversations with them. So another thing you can do with it is you can start to kind of peg your customers' colors and use that to talk to your customers about Plexus in a way that is actually attractive to them. So I kind of, it took me a minute to get this down, and I would have face-to-face meetings with customers, and I would start going off on all the ingredients and details, and some of the people were like bored to tears, and I felt really bad. I was like, what did I do wrong? Why do they not like my presentation? Like, how could they not want to know this stuff? But they really just don't. Some of them just don't. So that was one thing that I really needed to realize, was that I needed to understand where my customers and my prospects were coming from and talk to them about it in a way that they wanted to hear. So if they're a red person, they want to know about the business. They want to know how much money they can make. They want to know how we do challenges, and they get recognized if they meet certain goals within the challenges. The yellow folks, they don't care about the money. They want to help people. So, if you're talking to them about the business, you want them to know you're going to change people's lives. You're going to help them improve their health. You might be able to help people get off medication or whatever. And then the blue folks, they'd probably be excited to hear about what we do at convention, or how much fun we have when we get together and do team activities and stuff like that. So that's one way that you can use it to kind of grow your customer base and grow your team. And then that's kind of going into the next step, is making sure that you want your team to be comprised of a lot of different colors. You don't want your team to be a bunch of replicas of you. I know, we're all about duplicating, but not that literally. So if you have a lot of different color personality types on your team, then they'll be good at the things that you're not. Did I lose you guys? I just had a phone call come in. I'm good? Okay, sorry about that. If you guys have an iPhone, it says scam likely when it's a telemarketer, so that's what it was. It was a likely scam. So I lost my place a little. Oh yeah, so if you build your team up of different colors, then they'll be good at the things you're not good at, and you'll have a lot more well-rounded team, because like not everybody can do everything well. So if you have people under you that are better at, you know, creating interesting graphics or appealing graphics because of their color personality, then, you know, you have them help the team out with that. Or if you have people that are better at, you know, presenting, or you'll kind of get a feel for which colors are better at different things, and they kind of help make the whole team more successful. So my first ambassadors have been green folks, because I'm green. So like I said, that's easier for me to talk to them. But green people grow their businesses very, very slowly. They're very slow to commit. They're very slow to make a move on something, because they like to have all the information first and feel like there's almost a guarantee that it's going to work out the way they picture. So, you know, I'm realizing I need a lot more other colors on my team if I really want to grow it, because greens are just very, very careful people. And I'm not going to reach my goals just having a bunch of people on my team just like me. So, you know, this is something I'm still working on with my team and my customers. So it's helpful for me to present it, because it's a good reminder. One thing that I have done that's been really helpful to me in getting interest from people that have different color personalities is I schedule out my posts, which I know a lot of people do, just to save themselves time and kind of make things more operationalized, so that you kind of just pull the trigger on it and you've got your whole week done, which is smart. But I try to do a different type of post each day that's going to talk to a different type of person. So I want to do a post that talks about how much fun it is to do the business, or how much fun it is when we get to go to Super Saturday or a convention. I try to do a post that's about, you know, the business end, and this is how much money you could make, and these are the type of contests I'm involved in. And then, you know, one that's specific about the details of the product, that's going to speak to the green folks like me. And then, you know, I think that the testimonies are really great for yellows, because they see that there are people out there that really have serious health issues that have been able to overcome those. So just as you're planning out your weekly Facebook posts, kind of keep that in mind, to have different posts that will speak to different personalities. And that's been really helpful for me. I have been getting interest from people that I thought I would never hear from. Yeah, that is Liberty just said one that people are scared of if it's talking about the business. And I was terrified, honestly, about talking about the business, because I don't know, I think we're kind of ingrained that it's tacky to talk about money and how much money you can make, or how much money you do make. But that's what people want to know. And I've got a gal that she's on my dream team. I've always, like, ever since I started doing Plexus, I thought she would be amazing at Plexus. And she uses the products and she loves them. And I did a couple posts about the business, and she's red. She's all the way red. And she finally called me and said, I'm ready. And so I was like, yay. So that was really uncomfortable for me, but you know, that is what she wanted to know, that she could do the business and that she could make money. And now she's ready to do it. So kind of exciting. And then after going through this, something that I realized that I need to do better with, that I want to improve on, is, you know, I kind of have a few messages that I like to send out to people when I have a new prospect that I don't really know very well. I have a message that I reach out and introduce myself. And then I have a couple that I used to, like, invite people to the 7-day challenge and the PJ parties. But I want to have some for each of the different color personalities. So I have a few different templates I can work from and tailor those messages as well. So the Facebook posts are going well. So that's the next step, is to create the templates for each of the color personalities. So I can invite reds a certain way and I can invite greens a certain way. And I'm hoping that I can get more people that not only say that they're going to come, then they actually come. So a few of the pros and cons of each of the colors, just in case you guys are wondering, if you need the refresher. And I apologize if I'm telling you guys stuff that you already feel really comfortable with. You know, like I said, reds, they like to hear about the money. They want to know what the return on their investment is. They like challenges and recognition. But one of the things that, I mean, a couple things you need to watch out for, they're not always good listeners, because a lot of times they feel like they know already. Liberty's laughing. I already know she's a red. Don't tell her I told you. But
I did not even know until right now that that was my problem. I didn't know that was part of my personality.
So yeah, they're not always the best listeners, and and it's not because they don't like want to hear you or they're not interested, but a lot of times they're kind of impatient, like, yes, I know, you know, move along, move along. And this I thought was funny, that most reds actually think they're yellow. So they actually think that they're the helpful personality types. So with the yellows, you know, they're nurturing, they want to help, they're all about getting people healthy, but they don't usually like the sales end of it. That's uncomfortable for them. So that's something that you're going to have to help. If you have yellows on your team, you're going to have to help them along in that process. You know, kind of hold their hand a little bit through that part of it until they get the hang of it, or they're making money, you know, on accident, for lack of a better term, because they're just helping people, and incidentally they're making money along the way. And then the green personalities, we're the nerds. I'm not an accountant, but that's the job that always comes up in the green description, that we're accountants. We make decisions based on logic and not emotion, and that's another thing that's hard for me, because the vast majority of people, pretty much everyone other than greens, buys things based on emotion. They want an emotional connection to the product, and so I have to remind myself that constantly, that I need to create an emotional experience for somebody, and that's not natural for me to do. So, you know, I have to be conscious of that. We don't like to be sold, so that's another thing. If I have somebody that I'm working with that's a green, whether they're a customer or they're hopefully going to be on my team, you know, if you're pushy with greens, a lot of times that backfires. If you follow up with them too often, a lot of times that backfires. They want to come to the decision on their own after reviewing materials carefully. Or hopefully, sometimes they're already there, they've already done their homework, and they're like, hey, where do I sign up? Sometimes that happens too. And they like to be right. I mean, not me, but all the other greens. Just kidding. So, you know, if it's not something, you can't tell them that they're wrong necessarily, but you definitely have to be careful with your wording if you're correcting their information on something. And then with blues, they're, you know, all about the fun. They don't necessarily care about the business. They would care about the trips. They would care about the team building. They would care about the fun. But again, they're not good listeners, and they're more like squirrel, you know, they're not necessarily not listening just because they're being rude. They're not listening because they're all over the place. They're the life of the party, but so they're really good at making contacts and building their network, but they're horrible with follow-up. So that's a thing with, if you have blues on your team, or as customers, as their leader, that's something you would want to be aware of, that, you know, they may need a little bit of encouragement and help with meeting their follow-ups. And as we say, the fortune is in the follow-up, so that could be a big deal with blues. Or it could be something that you encourage them to work on with their personal development. So I think, I'm done pretty early, but that's all I have. So I guess I'll see if anybody had questions.
I just have a comment about yellows and money. I had read somewhere that if you tell a yellow, like think of the checks that you get as like a financial or as a reward for the amount of lives that you've changed. I actually had one lady that was like, still's not helping me. I'm like, man, okay, but something that you just said right there made me think of it this way too, is that you can help them see that that's money that they could help maybe in a charity that they like, or, they could help the homeless or whatever they like to do. They can help more with that money that they earn. So thank you, because whatever you just shared right there really hit me there when it comes to yellows. And I loved hearing the cons of different colors because I'd never gone through that before. And that is truly something that you're right. It's when I'm not listening, it's not because I don't care. I'm learning how to care, or to show that I care, I guess. Not learning how to care. I'm learning how to show that I care, because I am a very much like, get to the point. If this is going to be 4 paragraphs long, you've already lost me after the first one, kind of a thing. And so thank you for teaching me that too tonight, because I didn't know that was one of my parts of my.
Well, thank you. I'm glad you brought that up, though, because one thing I was thinking when I was doing this is one way that you might be able to get to a yellow on the business end is if they're a mom, or if, they have some family things that they would like to accomplish. You could kind of say, you can help your daughter so she can go do these dance lessons, or you can help, if your husband's feels like it's a burden, right, financially, you can help your family that way. So that might be another message that would work with a yellow.
Yeah, that's great. Love it. And don't ever apologize for feeling like you've gone over stuff that we've heard before, because some of us haven't. And it's always great to review and see someone else's perspective on that same book, So you did a great job. Thank you for sharing.
And for that question that just got asked, it's called The 4 Color Personalities for MLM. And it's by Big Al Schreiter, Schreiter. And I listened to it on Audible, and it only took me like 2 or 3 days of listening to it through my workouts, because it's like 2 hours.
Anybody else have what were you thinking?
Just one comment. I was going to say, Ryan, that was incredible. I loved it, because, yeah, like Libby said, don't ever apologize for that, because that stuff, we go through so much stuff, so it's awesome to have, like, I've read that book, I've listened to it so many times, but just you bringing it back up, like, got my wheels turning again. I was like, oh, yeah, I really need to invest this into that person, and this is great, because you just really got a lot of thinking. And one thing I will say that's interesting, like Dusty is a yellow, but she's also a close red. So, and she is one of those colors that is not, it's mainly blue, red, and then you have the green, yellow that are in the top jewels. But there's a lot of them. Like Dusty is a yellow red, like real close. I'm a blue red, like mine almost tie. One test blue is ahead, one test red is ahead. So you'll have those people too that I have learned that. So what you said tonight was great, Ryan, because sometimes, like Scott, we've always said we're kind of rainbows, because there was a couple times like we didn't even come back with a color. So we were like, we're rainbows, we're brown, we're gray, But I've had to do that with some people. I've had to hit them with a little bit of everything, in that, just what you said. And it's kind of cool to see what they respond to if I don't know that person. And then you kind of lead with that too, to kind of, understand them if it's more of a cold call, or like I've had my husband's wives, his friends' wives that I don't know, and trying to get to know them. So great stuff, Ryan. I loved it. Thank you.
Thank you. I wonder if we become a little bit more of a rainbow over time when we work on the skills that we know we're not as good at. And that's probably a good thing.
I love that, Ryan. I agree with you. Agree with you so much. You betcha. That's cool. Yes.
All right. Well, I didn't have anything else unless there are other questions, but I appreciate you guys giving me the opportunity to present.
Of course.
Thank you.
Of course. Thank you. You guys have a great night. Thank you for joining us.
Yes. Thank you, guys. Bye.
Good night.
Thank you. Great info. Enjoyed it.
Good. It was awesome.